broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
What up, fellow Face Off fans? Welcome to Season 10, Episode 5, Foreign Bodies. I'm your host, Elena Jordan, only mildly terrifying. Today I am joined by the phenomenal...
Hello, I'm Michelle Cullen.
I try to say it like creepy in the background. Unfortunately, Caleb was originally scheduled to be with us this evening and was unable to, but we're thinking about you, buddy. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Fingers crossed. So let's dive right into this episode. It was phenomenal.
It was so, what did I write? Simultaneously disgusted and fascinated by this episode. That is how I felt.
I like that. Ugh. That is the perfect description.
Yes.
For this episode.
Anything with bugs and slime. It's like, ew, but I can't look away.
I love anything slime. Did you ever have gack when you were a kid?
Yes.
That's this whole episode. All I wanted to do was just squish some gack.
I was jealous that they got to make their own slime. I was like, I want to play science.
So cool. It was so cool.
It was.
So this episode was this was a horror sci-fi mashup challenge.
Yes.
Which is, in my opinion, the coolest mashup that you can have.
It's so fun.
It's so good. And so it was kind of based off of Aliens and The Thing and Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And one of the most iconic images in sci-fi horror is the chest burster from Alien.
Yes.
These guys had their own scientific-inspired microcosm. Micronism. Microcosm. Just
I liked it.
Small
I just
version.
went with it.
Yeah, it was a small version of Alien. Whatever.
You know.
So they had their microorganism and had all of these cool microscopes lined up.
Yes.
Which did the projection image. That
was so cool.
I love when they add in that extra little bit of flair.
Right? Because you could just put a picture of this microorganism parasite in front of them and be like, okay, pick one. But to have the magnifying glass and just have it project and have it be such a high graphic image, it adds so much showmanship to the show, which I love about it. It's not dull to watch.
This show definitely, because it is such a creative-based show, their producers do such a great job of adding in all of these creative elements that are even outside of the makeups. It's awesome.
It's a whole cohesive environment, and it's awesome.
You start watching the beginning of this episode, you just see the setup, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see what they're going to do with this, especially having a real-life organism and showing some of these pictures. You're like, oh, this exists.
Right?
This is real.
Like, you zoom in that close, it has teeth. I didn't need to know that.
I know. I don't want to think about, like, these little tiny demon creatures just around us at all times.
Just chilling, hanging out.
It's very unsettling.
It is.
Delightfully unsettling, like most of the makeups this evening.
Yes.
One person who definitely knows about aliens, of course, is from Alien. Mm-hmm. Lance Hendrickson was here, and he was... I love, too, when they have awesome guests and they really utilize them. And he was utilized a lot in this episode. We sometimes have where they just come out at the beginning and kind of do their setup, and then we see them later in judging.
Yeah.
But he gave some curveballs thrown in.
There was a little
face-off twist.
Right?
But just starting out, they team up into 5 different teams. I can't believe we're already down to 10 contestants.
It's crazy. And I'm sure some of them were like, but we just got to have our own solo challenge, and I really liked not having to collaborate with someone, and now we're in a team again.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that's partially what Robert was thinking at some moment.
You know, I feel like it is kind of an odd scenario when we have had just the one solo challenge to then go back into the teams.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like the makeup artists, I can see a little bit of pullback
Yeah.
in certain situations. But because this was such a daunting challenge, there's just no way that you could really pull this off feasibly in the amount of time with one person.
Yeah.
Which is cool when they have the partner challenges and they do things that are a little bit more difficult because you get makeups like we saw tonight.
Yes. So good.
So kicking it off, a look that we really only had one safe look this week was Johnny and Walter. And their safe look was better than some of the top looks that I've seen on the show in the past. So
I will agree with that.
it has, this episode, I think just everybody is on their game. They've just heightened the stakes are higher and everyone's feeling it, and they're really knocking it out of the park.
They are. The only thing that I didn't like that I agreed with the judges on actually was that it didn't read very well from far away, that the skin was literally pulling back and this thing was forcing itself out of the head. It just kind of looked like a weird helmet from far away. But when you got up close and the camera zoomed in, like, you did see the detail there, and that was really well done.
It's one that is definitely a very cinematic look. Like, it's one that's made for close-ups.
Yes.
But I will say I do agree with the judges, and I understand why this is a safe look, especially with the caliber of the top looks this week as well. Having the inconsistency of what looked like a growth and then something bursting forward, it did make it seem like it wasn't as cohesive as it could have been.
Yeah.
And because the chest piece was so cool, I kind of wish they had dialed back a little bit on
Made
the
a more
top.
subtle cowl.
Yeah. Just made it where, because it almost seemed like it was competing with itself.
It did.
And I don't want to see, oh, here's Walter's work versus Johnny's work. You know,
and that's kind of what we ended up having.
It was very divisive. You could see who did what very specifically.
Yeah.
In separate parts. Whereas a lot of the other looks, you know, we see Mel and Melissa are painting over each other, and
they're just literally going in circles.
Yeah, it's great. And so I feel like this look, if they maybe had communicated a little bit more from the beginning, could have been a top look.
Yeah.
If it had been just a little bit more cohesive.
Yeah, and I will agree with that. I think if you add any gag or mechanical piece to really elevate your look, everything else should kind of be just a hint more subtle.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like dialing it all the way back, you know, but not, like you said, having it compete with itself.
Exactly. I mean, when you go back and you watch the scene from Alien, you see like Bishop, you don't go, oh, here's a chest burster and a thing on his head.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's a focus on one.
Yes.
And because the mechanical piece was just so cool.
That was a really smart idea.
Yeah, that should have been the only real focal point, and have the rest of it be kind of maybe some boil or like some sort of like illness reaction.
Yeah. Like maybe you can tell he's getting sick and then the jacket opens and it's like, oh crap.
Yeah. Like, this isn't just something we can give him some Advil for.
No.
We should probably all get out of here. But I love that they added in the element of throwing in the blood splatter with the slime.
Oh.
Which, the slime,
Their slime
this episode, so, it's so good. It's so good.
That has probably been one of my favorite foundation challenges to date in the show, is they literally just got to create slime and throw it at people.
Right.
Which sounds like a silly dream to have, but that just looked so fun.
It looks so fun, which brings us to Mel and Melissa, who had really the most fun with the foundation challenge, and it showed because they ended up getting immunity. It was between them and Johnny and Walter. They all really made some really good slime.
They did.
But ultimately, it was Mel and Melissa with their veterinary lube. So they're starting working on all of their stuff. We bring back
Lance,
our guest. Mr. Hendrickson walks in instead of Mr. Westmore.
Dun dun dun.
Dun 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 twist! And for the first time ever on Face Off, they keep giving us all of these first time evers. How? They're going to run out of them at some point. They have to.
10 seasons in, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I know, right? And like every episode, there's a new twist. It's insane.
Right?
When something seems a little bit off, you know that it's going to be something intense. When they bring in Lance instead of Mr. Westmore, it's about to go down.
Right.
They make this crazy slime to try to gain immunity, not just for themselves, but for their team.
Which is awesome.
Which is super awesome. And this is really surprising, again, 10 seasons in, that this is the first time that they've ever
Given a team
immunity. Mel and Melissa end up getting immunity and really don't need it at all.
No, they delivered.
They delivered an amazing top look, which they struggled a little bit at the beginning. And because they had immunity, I couldn't tell if it was a face-off psych out or not.
Right.
Like, I was like, this could be bad, but it's okay because they have immunity, or this could be one that it's going to be the typical, oh, everything's going wrong. Look at this amazing piece of work that is phenomenal.
It was a little bit a mixture of the both. Had Mel stuck with the original facial structure that she was going with, it would have been probably way too literal of the parasite they had. And when she dialed it back, you know, the fourth time's a charm.
Right.
Thank God for immunity, because basically starting on day 2, losing all of day 1, that's pretty stressful, I imagine. But once they dialed it back and they worked so well as a team. Once they made those pieces, it was just smooth sailing from there.
It was insane. And adding in the slime that they created, and it was so good.
Yeah. When she laid down the hair, I got uncomfortable.
The hair is what just really set it off, because just the idea of, and it kind of looked like the model already, and so then just seeing your face like melted off with,
Yeah.
you know,
That's probably a weird feeling as the model.
I know, right? To see somebody with the same hair as you're like, it was okay until, like, a melted face looks like a melted face. When you add in the hair, you're like, oh, that's my melted face.
Right?
Like,
With my blue eyes. Just right
Yeah.
there.
But it was such a cool idea to have it burst out of the mouth and have, you know, the pieces of the skin and everything laying down. And because this is a sci-fi horror challenge, they don't have to worry about the confines of, like, the anatomy of, oh, well, will the skull structure do this? You just say, well, the parasite liquefied it, and that's what happened.
Right.
And as long as it reads well and looks good, then that's all that
works.
matters. And it was just, the human teeth. That's what just set it off for me.
Ugh.
Oh,
Just a lot of that noise. Ugh.
ugh, ugh.
Which is a compliment.
I know.
Which is so weird to me right now, by the way.
that the highest compliment you can give is, yeah. But it's so true. And they did such a great job of utilizing color. That was the big thing.
They did.
Is they really took hold of, this is the challenge. The challenge is this genre. We don't have to make it look realistic. We can add in elements that really differentiate. Here is the human and here is the creature.
Yes.
That has burst forth.
And they were really, besides Rob and Caleb's pop of color, they were really the only ones who utilized like a real color palette, right?
Yeah. They're the only ones that had the really bright blue, green. The rest were all kind of more orangey, yellow tones.
What
and,
you would
like, skin
normally
tones
associate
and-
with dying and
Yeah.
dying from a parasitic illness,
But,
based on my movie knowledge.
oh.
Yeah.
It was just awesome work.
Yep.
And to go from, I feel like my hands are broken, to look at this amazing piece.
Yeah.
Rocked it out. And I just like seeing Mel and Melissa together because,
They're a good team.
yeah, and it also kind of makes me feel like I'm stuttering. And I'm like, Melissa. I'm just me. All right. But ultimately, it was Caleb and Rob.
Yes.
Who, and I'm mostly disappointed that Caleb couldn't be here just because I wanted to talk about how good his makeup was this week.
It was so awesome.
So good.
My favorite by far. As soon as I heard their concept, I was like, this is going to be a top look because no one else is doing this.
Yeah.
And they can execute it well, and they did.
They did a really, really, and I love that Rob pointed out too in judging, is he said, I listened to what Lance said. Lance said the real fear comes from the element of anticipation, of, the jack in the box of, oh, what is it going to be? What is it going to be? What is it going to be? And which is so true. It's the whole like Jaws mentality of, you don't see the shark until the third act. And you're,
What was that? Thank you.
Spot on, Jaws. You don't even have to see the movie if you haven't. That was it.
That's it.
That was it.
Wait, let me just bottom. Now it's the movie.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And scene. I mean, it is quite terrifying.
Acting.
So, viewers at home, I'm sorry if that was a little too intense for you. I'll try to
So sorry.
dial it back. Can't make any promises. So, having the idea of having the alien really coming out behind the model and having the reveal be the big turnaround.
So smart.
It's genius. And it's a move that shows a risk that pays off because it was well executed and well thought out.
Yes.
That could have gone horribly awry to have the alien's only on the back, because you could have a situation where it doesn't match up. But adding in like the broken capillaries in the eye and the pieces on the side and the shoulder that Caleb made, that was so I can't even describe how just tentacly and
It was phenomenal. And I know when they were sculpting it, it was saying tentacles and it was coming out, but it looked like a good mixture of tentacles and like dead skin being ripped away from the tentacles.
Yeah.
The way that the paint was applied, it felt like a good balance of it's literally ripping itself out of his arm and his arm muscle, and that is disgusting. And again, I can't look away.
It's so good. It looked like a sea anemone, like
It
trying
did,
to
like
escape.
an evil, terrifying sea anemone.
That anemone is
Anemone.
it's a hard word to say. An anemone.
An anemone. Anyway.
An anemone anomaly. Oh, boom!
I did love so much the awesome face makeup that was applied with the one contact, because if you were in a horror movie and you saw that character coming toward you, you would kind of be like, oh crap, something is wrong with them, maybe I can help them, and then they would turn around and it would be the reveal and you would realize you have to run away as fast as you can because they're already gone.
Yeah.
And that was just, I can't stop gushing. It was my favorite look.
It was genius. It was one of my favorite looks on the show to date.
Yes.
I think it was just one that I want to rent that movie. I want to see it immediately.
Good.
I want to own it. I want the Blu-ray. I want the special features. Like, just
Bonus footage, bloopers, everything.
Put Rob and Caleb making some monsters in a movie already. I want to see it.
Yes.
I want to see it right now. And ultimately, though, there could only be one winner. And it was really Rob's execution on the back of the big tentacle going, ripping through this
He did so well.
the most beautifully grotesque, gorgeously grotesque piece I think I've seen.
Yep.
Definitely well-earned win. Second in a row for Rob.
He is doing great.
Crushing it. I feel like Rob is the front runner right now. I feel like he is like the one to beat because, go Rob, go Rob. Oh my God! Which he also we see the struggle that they have early on, where Caleb is kind of trying to talk to him a little bit, and he's just getting so stressed he can't even stand in the corner because he's getting claustrophobic just from lack of time and getting nervous that it's not going to work out. And I just can't even imagine the stress of that situation.
No.
Of the idea of, I know I have a solid idea. I know that if I pull this out and really make it work, it will be phenomenal, or it could all fall apart and this could be what sends me home.
That's how I felt during finals week in college.
It's like a permanent finals week.
It is. Every single time.
Oh, nightmare.
But you only get 2 days to prepare. 2.5.
Yeah, it's like having a semester exam 2 days in.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
ooh.
Ooh, think of that next time you're watching Face Off.
That's horrifying.
I know, right?
I'm so sorry.
Like, enjoy your panic attack. It's gonna be horrible. But, oh my gosh, just all of the way that they described it, saying that it just made it feel almost alive.
Yes.
That is the best description that I think the judges could have given for that look, because it was one that it just felt like you were waiting for the movement. Whereas we saw Johnny and Walter really create a piece that physically moved, and we see that big reveal and we get the big scare, like pop moment. Rob and Caleb did like a deep psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Oh, you're waiting for it. You look at it and it just has this element where you're just like, oh, it is the Jack in the Box.
It is.
You see it and you're like, oh, what's gonna do? What's gonna do now? Like,
It's gonna keep going.
Is his head gonna explode? What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Is it gonna come out of his eye? Like,
Oh.
yeah.
I'm happy no one did that.
Anything that comes out of an eyeball, no, unsettling.
Yes, but yeah, the paint job and the slime application to the worm creature in the back while leaving the skin kind of dryish and very dead looking was just blah.
It was genius.
It was beautiful.
It was genius, and it's gonna give me nightmares.
Yep.
It is. It's nightmare fuel, basically. That's what it is.
I don't know that I'm gonna sleep well tonight.
No, but you know what would make you probably sleep better? If you got a brand new Casper mattress.
Ooh, that actually sounds good.
Are a delight.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Time Magazine actually said in 2015 that is like a must buy. It was one of the best inventions of 2015.
Really?
Is this Casper mattress. It's insane. It contains a dual layer pillow layer form thing that has.
I could use one of those.
Yeah, basically it has 1 billion microfibers.
Okay.
So
1 billion.
Yeah, it just adapts to you as you move. It just conforms to your body.
Yes.
It is the perfect mattress to sleep through the horrors that are the creatures of Face Off, the gorgeous horrors. And because you guys are so awesome and you watch AfterBuzz and listen to us, we want to make sure that you can get these awesome mattresses, $50 off of the Casper mattress. And you get to try it for 100 nights in your own home, risk-free. And all you got to do, go to Casper.com and then just use the code AFTERBUZZ TV, and that'll give you $50 towards your new mattress. So
Nice.
go out and get a Casper. I know, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Oh. I know, right?
Really
I'm luring you in with the panic buy is basically what it is. Do you watch Face Off? Do you think of the stress? Does it keep you up at night?
Casper.
Lose no more sleep.
Not just a ghost. Also a great mattress.
Yeah. Oh.
Thank you.
Look at you. Zing. I'm telling you, you got a future in taglines.
Yes.
I feel
It's
it.
always been my dream.
As a little girl, I wished. Now, unfortunately, this week there were a couple looks that didn't quite
Hit the mark.
hit the mark. They missed the mark a little bit. They didn't quite pull off what they were looking for. Yvonne and Anna, I actually liked their look. I thought it was cool. I know Yvonne really loved it. She
Yeah.
was really proud of it, which I think, as long as you like it, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
This look, I understand why the judges had a problem with it, though, is because, as Glenn put it, never split anything down the middle.
No. And that's the only reason that it bothered me so much is that I loved the concept. I loved the idea. I loved, this is going to be weird. I loved their parasite. Their parasite had a really, a really great structure to it. I feel weird saying this about a parasite that they
That's a good looking
utilized.
parasite.
Right? It's a good looking. Look at that smile.
Oh,
Yes. But putting the mouth with the mouth and putting it just on the side of the face and leaving nothing happening to the eye besides turning it black was really off-putting to me visually. It either should have been coming out of the head or out of the chest or somewhere else where they could have built it a little more creatively and had kind of the side effects of an infection happening in the face, maybe. That's my personal opinion.
yeah, I feel like that is, I think you hit the nail on the head exactly with that. It just seems like where Mel and Melissa really utilize having the mouth, like this main orifice, they're all these, which I hate saying the word orifice over and over because I feel like I'm going to be Paul Rubin saying nipple in the last couple episodes. But having, your ear, your eye, your nose, your mouth, like your entire face, there are all of these orifices that a creature could come out of, that could emerge, that could pull, that could rip. And it seemed less like a parasite and more like somebody working in the lab that tripped and fell and half their face went into a liquid that then mutated it. Yeah. It seemed like a transformation. V exactly says it seemed like a transformation more so than a parasite. There was no bursting element. Yep. It was just a half element, which ultimately I feel like the reason that it wasn't the lowest look is because it still was a solid makeup. It just didn't fit the challenge.
Yes.
And that's always kind of a rough situation, especially when you have a makeup that you really, really like, that you're like, oh, I worked on this and I did a good job, and it wasn't exactly what I was supposed to do, so I don't really get the credit I should. That's how I saw it.
Yes, I agree with that. I will say that I thought that their paint job and the way that the lips and the skin pulled away at the mouthpiece were done very, very well.
Yeah.
That red from both close up and far away, which was really nice.
Creating the new slime was a good idea, too. Their foundation challenge slime just didn't really work. Adding the caramel food coloring.
Made it gross.
Yeah, putting the epoxy on the beak that, made it shiny and hard, and adding the slime elements. It had a bunch of great elements.
It was just in the wrong spot.
Yeah, it just wasn't emerging. It wasn't burst. It didn't have the movement.
Yep.
And I feel like Neville was a bit harsh when he said it was contrived and boring.
Yeah,
that is kind of the ultimate insult that you can get. But I disagree with that. I don't think it was boring. I think it's an interesting look. I think I can see where he would say it's contrived just because the split look has been done so much, and it did have kind of a Two-Face element. But I think ultimately it was a successful makeup. The only issue was that it didn't have the movement of bursting forth.
Yeah.
It seemed like kind of a stagnant character that had been dealing with this issue for a while. It didn't seem like this is a sudden, urgent, especially looking at it next to Johnny and Walter's piece.
Yes.
If you do that and you see this has an actual moving element, it has these pieces that are jutting forth, and we see it happening versus it's, I feel like it still was a really good look, though.
Oh, yeah.
I think the judges were a bit harsh on that one, but...
I never would have wanted to actually see an eye one, but I feel like that parasite would have been a really good one to utilize, the cheekbone and the eye socket and kind of create a different
instead
sunken
of
look
splitting
with
it, maybe have the mouth the same, but have pieces jutting out of the cheek and out of the eye. It's coming out of this side of your face, but it hasn't completely changed your face.
Oh, that would
it's
be
just
so creepy.
trying to come out of this side.
I'm fine. I just got chills.
Clawing its way out.
I'm going to...
And into your soul.
Shower before bed. So much Disney.
But not Fantasia, because it's also terrifying.
Yes.
Face off the Fantasia of your nightmare.
Oh, God.
So... You're welcome, Alexis. I feel like an evil scientist too.
Kind
with
of,
our
right?
We've got our.
Can you read your scientist name?
I am Dr. Antoine Theodonikoulos, MD.
That is a name.
Boom.
It's her name.
I will only respond to Antoine from now on.
All right.
Yeah. Boom. Ultimately, the look that ended up being the judge's least favorite, Robert and Katie's.
Yeah.
This was one that it had some pretty clear-cut issues, and I think theirs was also an issue with time, where they had this very obvious line that you could see from pretty far away. That, as Robert said, it looked like San Andreas Fault in the middle of a forehead.
Good old Robert.
I just want to listen to him talk all the time.
Telling it like it is.
I just want Robert to have his own podcast where he just talks. I just want him to name things.
He created that song.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And make jingles for it. We had an awesome jingle this week.
We did.
Hans the brainworm.
He got his own song.
Which also, if Hans the Brainworm does not become an animated series, then that is just a real missed opportunity.
Right.
I have to say. But first he eats your brain, then you go insane. Hans the Brainworm.
Such a good catchline, too.
It's so good! But ultimately, Robert just made a worm. That was really it. Katie had a lot of the other tasks, was the cowl, the painting it, the application. I feel like he could have helped her out a little bit with it, and it may have gone a little bit more smoothly, because this is, she said, the very first cowl she's ever molded by herself.
Yep. Which is nerve-wracking.
Right, and why did it have to be by herself? She
had a partner who had done it before.
And this one, we also saw Katie walking over and talking to Rob, too, which I feel like she just talked to everybody a lot. Like, we've seen that a few different times.
Yeah, I don't know if they're trying to show something specific.
I don't know.
Or if it's just always that something is setting at that particular moment, and they've decided that it was a good conversation and they want to showcase it.
But she's just so sweet. Like, she cares about her other contestants. She has a great attitude. She works really hard. I just feel like maybe she bit off a little more than she could chew this time.
I will say it felt like lopsided.
Yeah. And ironically, biting off more than you can chew, that's what happened to their character, because they got food poisoning.
Oh.
Yeah. A food poisoning infestation.
Disgusting.
That led to this creature, this worm emerging from the side. But the issue, it did just kind of look like a hood.
It did.
It looked like a face wearing something, because the paint job was off. It was very clearly, here's the face, here's the cowl.
Yep. It was a little rough.
It looked like a makeup, not a character, which was rough. But I mean, I feel like she was having issues with it from the beginning when she was sculpting it. She was talking to Michael Westmore, and he was saying, don't overdo it. And she's dialing it back and trying to find the right balance. I do think, because she even said she was a little timid going in and working with Robert again. This was her second time working with Robert. She was a little hesitant. And we were talking about that being thrown into a scenario where you are put into a team when you have just done an individual challenge.
Yep.
I could see how that could be daunting, and I can see why it didn't really work for them, that team dynamic. I feel like if they had been paired with different people, each of them would have maybe done something a little more.
Yeah.
But I did like Hans the Brainworm. I thought he was fun.
He was very detailed.
He was very detailed,
and then he was just there, and I was kind of sad.
No, I thought there could have been. It seemed like it was underutilized.
Yeah,
like it could have been more. But unfortunately, Katie
had to go home.
It was not Hans the Brainworm that sent a contestant home, but
it was not Hans that slayed the makeup.
Home of Hans. Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
Which I am sad to see Katie go, because she was so sweet. She had such a great attitude. She did great work.
Yes.
But I loved her exit interview and how positive she was, and how she still maintained that it was life-changing and that she loved it. And we saw her grow over the past few episodes, and I can't wait to see what else she has in store for us.
Oh, she's going to do great things. She's just so wonderful.
She is. She's such a delight. So we love you, Katie. We already miss you. And if you guys will be missing us this week, just tune in next week. We'll be right back with another episode of Face Off, same time, same place. But in the meantime, Michelle, where can we find more from you?
You can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
And I'm Elena Jordan. You can find me on Twitter at Elena Jordan, and on Instagram at That Elena Jordan Girl. Alexis, where can we find you? Oh, nice. I like it. I like it. And we all also host multiple shows here at AfterBuzz. You can check out the hundreds of shows that we have to offer on AfterBuzzTV.com, or by going to YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, rating, subscribing. Give us that thumbs up and keep the conversation going by using the hashtag ABTVFaceoff. Also, for anybody who is going to be in Phoenix this weekend, I and Emma Fife, one of our other co-hosts who couldn't be with us this evening, but normally is, will be in Arizona for Amazing Arizona Comic-Con. Be sure to stop by, say hello, and catch us all back here next week. Bye!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.